that their parents instilled in them about the importance of giving and helping others. Our dad was a son of immigrants, and he grew up in North Philadelphia. Over the years, he and his siblings have shared many stories about how their family was able to help others. Sometimes that meant sharing food and resources with neighbors who had fallen on hard times, and other times it meant sponsoring family and friends who were coming to this country from Ireland to start a new life, just as my dad's parents had many years ago. Our mom grew up in Havertown. She was the daughter of a postman and a homemaker. A sense of family was really important to our grandparents, and they always had an open door for family members who were in need of support, or a lot of times a place to stay. During our childhood, our parents taught us the importance of giving back in many ways. They volunteered their time, they shared resources, and they began exploring philanthropic endeavors that allowed them to experience the satisfaction of long-term giving, as well as the understanding of how beneficial it can be for organizations to develop those long-term relationships with donors. Later in life, after a lot of hard work and dedication, and I'm sure their own fair share of luck, our parents realized that they had the opportunity to give back on a larger scale, and that's when they started the Daily Family Foundation. So initially, our Family Foundation was managed by a large commercial advising program. And we felt that it was a very impersonal experience. As a family, we didn't want to just write a check every year. We actually wanted to develop relationships. We wanted to learn more about the community and the people in the community. We wanted to interface with organizations that were dedicated to the community. And we also wanted to connect with other families who were equally committed to investing in the world around them. After our dad's passing in 2013, we actually consulted with our family estate attorney, John Twombly, and we talked to him about this vision that we had. So John was very familiar with Chester County Community Foundation, and he discussed their mission with us. From the start, we admired their vision, and we were excited to build a relationship with an organization that shared our passion for helping those close to home.
For our first meeting, we brought our family's investment manager, Mike Connolly, to also hear about the Community Foundation's mission. He was inspired, as were we, and he quickly pursued the approvals that he needed to join the Chester County Community Foundation's medallion program so that he could manage the investments of the fund with the foundation. Working with the Chester County Community Foundation, it's allowed us to take a more active role in our fund. When we initially met with Karen and Beth, we were inspired by their passion and commitment. So it made us excited in turn because it was a much more personal relationship than what we had had previously, and we could really see the opportunity being presented to us to help others. It's also allowed us to meet other families that think similarly and prioritize giving back on a local level. We feel that the Community Foundation and its staff has been a really great resource for us to achieve our goals. They've introduced us to many different community organizations who are improving the lives of people in our community every day. We've had the opportunity to tour some of these organizations so we can see how our donations are being used. And one of the highlights was the opportunity to tour the Chester County Food Bank as well as the Westchester Food Cupboard. It was a really humbling experience to see the degree to which hunger still exists in our community. For disbursement from our fund this year, we decided the four of us, our mother, our brother, my sister, and I, would each choose causes that were closest to our heart and that really spoke to us individually. So as a result of that, we were able to give to a broad range of local causes. My mom chose the American Association in Cancer Research, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia Brain Cancer Research Program, and the American Cancer Society RIDE program in honor of family and friends impacted by cancer. My husband and I chose Justice Rescue and the Wilkes-Barre YMCA Arts Village program due to our volunteer connections and our family ties.
My brother and his wife chose Forgotten Cats and the Chester County Hospital Shine Cancer Services, two organizations that were close to their heart. I chose nonprofits that spoke to me personally as well as professionally. So I supported the Willistown Conservation Trust, Young Moms at the Garage, and the Westchester Food Cupboard. Our experience with the Chester County Charitable Foundation is completely different than our experience with the previous fund manager. It's been very rewarding for us, and we feel as if we finally have our team in place, and we're excited about how we're going to continue to create positive change in the community. The reality is, it doesn't take a lot of money to help others. We all have resources that we can share. Our time, our life experience, and our wisdom. When we started this, I don't think we really envisioned the impact that this would have on our family in terms of being able to give together. So I would encourage all of you to teach your children and your grandchildren to value helping others and giving back by participating in volunteer opportunities with them. As a family, we've decided to manage the fund in such a way that it will continue to grow and live into perpetuity. In that way, the Daily Family Fund will continue to benefit the community long after we're gone. We can't think of a better way to honor the legacy of love, opportunity, and giving that our parents instilled in us. Thank you.
Very different, right? Night and day. And they all happen under the Community Foundation roof, thank goodness. We're honored. And thank you for telling your story, Kanya and Carol Ann and Chuck. Thank you for participating as well. Now, when Kanya and Carol Ann were talking, they mentioned their two advisors. So somewhere along the line, it became apparent that their two advisors were candidates for our Door Opener Awards. And if they don't slip, we'll be really lucky, right? John Twombly, Esquire, and David Carril, on behalf of Michael Connolly, could you please join us at the podium so that we can present you with your Door Opener Awards? All right. Oh, and actually, over here, so I have to do the formal training command. There you go. So let me actually tell you about this. I'm gonna talk so that you can then speak for an hour or two after that, John, right? Our Door Opener Award is bestowed upon professional advisors who take the initiative to bring legacy philanthropy to the attention of their clients and to open the door to the Community Foundation. We didn't invent it, Berks County did, because don't you know they have that Baldwin brass door opening place, and they started this, but replication is the sincerest form of flattery. They gave us their first Door Opener Awards. So, from his vantage point as an estate planning attorney with a docket full of client meetings, John Twombly Jr. Esquire has been at the heart of scores of estate planning conversations. And I actually remember when John phoned a few years ago because we had never met in person, and he had some questions about the community foundations, and very good questions about the community foundation. And he knew of some of the other attorneys who had worked with the community foundations. Now, it just so happens that I go by John's office twice a day on my way to work. Thank you very much. So I was delighted when he called, and I hand-delivered a community foundation packet of information to his office. And he phoned back a few weeks later with some more questions, which was terrific. And then we didn't hear from him again. We made some courtesy calls, to follow up. We sent John invitations to, I think, events for quite a while. Not a peep. And John, for that, I give you the Door Opener Award. Because good things happen when he's doing his research and finding out more and more over the years about what we're doing. Now, we also present the Door Opener Award to David Carril, who is standing in for Michael Connolly, whose flight has been detained this evening. So David, thank you. Michael Connolly also had never worked with the Community Foundation before, But when the Daly family was pondering whether to move their donor advised fund from a commercial provider to the community foundation, they were actually unsure whether to invest it in our core portfolio or whether they wanted to stay with their traditional investment advisor. So the Daly family decided to take advantage of our medallion program, and they asked if Michael Connolly could manage a charitable fund. Our investment committee has a very detailed, let's say, right? A detailed due diligence process. Took a little bit of time, but the firm breezed through beautifully. And basically, they're a pleasure to work with. So we're delighted that the Daly family prompted us to explore a new medallion relationship with Connolly and Moore Wealth Management Group of Wells Fargo Advisors. And so, David, thank you for representing Michael Connolly today, and I hope that door opener gets back to your gorgeous offices. So the Door Opener Award is bestowed upon professional advisors who take the initiative to bring legacy philanthropy to the attention of their clients and who open the door to the Community Foundation. Now, you don't have to, but if you want to say a few words, now is your chance. Anybody?
So Michael gave me some prepared remarks, so hopefully I don't mess this up. But, so thank you to Karen and to the Chester County Community Foundation. My name is David Corielli, and I have the privilege of accepting this award on behalf of Michael Connolly of Connolly and Moore Wealth Management. Our firm is honored to receive this award in recognition. We wouldn't be standing here today without the philanthropic drive that the Daly family and the foundation have. It's been nothing but a joy working with the Daly family. We also want to thank our good friend John Twomley for being a great partner with the Chester County Community Foundation and our firm. And we look forward to strengthening and expanding our relationships with the Chester County Community Foundation. And thank you again for this honor.
All right, thank you very much. Now, basically, you can take this. Kathy and Andy, I didn't do my housekeeping right. Can you congratulate them? We had some special reasons. Thank you very much for opening the door. So the Community Foundation's Legacy Awards highlight philanthropic good works, and they inspire more throughout the region. So thank you for opening the door. Now that we've presented our Door Opener Awards, it's actually time for our Jordan Award. Many of you might remember our Jordan Award Fund. The Jordan Award Endowed Fund was created in 1999, and it honors our founding chair, the late Henry A. Jordan, and his wife, Barbara McNeil Jordan. Now, each year, the Jordan Award Committee looks at significant, comprehensive, long-standing philanthropic achievements. Jordan Award honorees have a long-term commitment to making an enduring impact on an array of causes throughout the county. They have demonstrated leadership to achieve lasting results. And they have a personal commitment. This includes giving of one's own time and resources, plus inspiring others to give now and forever. As you can see, our Jordan Award winners are quite a lineup. I am honored at this time to ask John Featherman, Jordan Award winner of some year that I can't remember, but it's in your annual report. John, would you be able to come to the podium so that you can present the Jordan Award and talk a little bit about this year's honoree? Thank you, John.
Thanks, Karen. It's my pleasure to award this Jordan Award to the Jordan Award to Tom Musser. I was first introduced to Tom by my law partner, Bill Gallagher, many, many years ago. And Bill and I had the pleasure of providing legal services to Tom and Bonnie Musser for the last 40 to 50 years. And over these years, we became good friends. Tom was an incredibly focused individual. And early in his career, he joined the Navy. I think he thought he was going to be drafted and decided he wanted to go into the Navy. He ultimately became an air traffic controller on an aircraft carrier, which is a very responsible job. I mention this because I think the most important thing that the Navy teaches every person who comes through their training program is the importance of performing their job, whatever it is, to perfection, and the failure to do so can cost a lot of lives. It doesn't matter whether you're an admiral in command of a fleet or a brand new seaman standing watch in the bow of a ship. Tom learned that lesson extremely well because that's how he lived his life. He did a fabulous job with his beautiful family. He started a business and both celebrated 50 years of marriage to Bonnie and also 50 years of working and building this successful business just a year ago. He also, along the way, from the very beginning, contributed to the community in many different ways. I had the pleasure of serving with him on several fundraising campaigns. And the great thing about Tom, when he was in charge of something like that, the committee meetings would be held at 7 in the morning, and they were over at 8, so they didn't interfere in any way with whatever else you were doing that day. And if you served on his committee and came to a meeting and weren't prepared, you only did that one time, and the next time you came, you'd done your work, or you replaced on the committee. He was awarded many, many honors over the course of his career, not only here in Chester County, but he also served as chair, among other things, of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. He and Bonnie were invited to the White House a number of times. They were well known and respected by President George W. Bush, among others. So it wasn't only here in Chester County that he made his mark, but also on the national stage. In this year's annual report is a very lengthy and detailed description of Tom's life and what he accomplished during it, and I commend that to you. We tend to just look at those things and kind of breeze through them, but I think you should take the time to read this description of Tom's life more than once, because you'll find it very inspirational, and I think it will probably inspire you to become perhaps more involved in your community. We're fortunate to have a short video that we have as a courtesy of QVC and the Chester County Economic Development Council, which will show you some highlights of Tom's life.
When I came here and interviewed with Tom, I saw something in Tom that I really liked. When I came on board and I noticed how he made decisions in accordance with his personal beliefs, that you need to be honest and you need to do things right, there was something special there, and I wanted to stay. Tom has touched the hearts of thousands of employees over the years, and it's extremely difficult not to admire and respect Tom Musser.
If you have a dedicated group of employees with high morale, they will take care of the customer will come back, and the bottom line will take care of itself.
I do feel that he's a very special person that has built a company and has done things for his employees and his family that a lot of people would never have guessed could have happened. And he's, as I said, he's determined for those things to happen and wants it to be right and wants it to be special for everybody.
Tom's a wonderful human being. Tom has been such an asset to the community, and he's probably the most caring and generous person that you ever want to meet.
It's just his philosophy to help out your community that you live in. And I think it sort of started way back when probably the first team came to him for the little local URA baseball team that needed a sponsor, and he sponsored them, and we had a little team running around with Try M on their t-shirts.
When I was little, playing for the Unionville Recreation Association Little League. The Mussers and Tri-M sponsored our Little League team, and they continue to support the Little League for years after that. Tom and Bonnie Musser were huge contributors to the capital campaign and everything we did with this brand new building here at Beaumont Fire Company. We moved from a smaller 2-bay building into this 4-bay, enough office space for all of our administration, and even bunk rooms and living quarters for guys to be able to stay overnight for inclement weather. I know through the fire company and through my family and just being in the community, if you saw him on the street, he'd say, "How you doing?" He's always very warm and welcoming. He'd kind of take the shirt off his back for you.
We were developing our YMCA from Westchester into Kennett Square, and the name that came up for leadership was Tom Musser. The community was resoundingly behind his reputation and his ability to get things done. And so as things progressed, we asked Tom if he would chair the campaign, and he said yes. He really helped me understand business, helped translate his successes into methods that I could use to be successful in the Y. And you know, I owe a lot of my success to the mentoring of Tom Musser. He was a great supporter of mine.
I had the good fortune to do some routine legal work for Tri-M as a young attorney, and that's how I first became aware of Tom Musser, since I knew he was the owner and chairman of the company. But I really didn't get to know Tom well until 2007, when I became the Senior Vice President of Development at Chester County Hospital. And when I started, the hospital was right in the midst of a large capital campaign, and Tom was one of the co-chairs of the capital campaign. Tom made sure that he made a significant contribution to the hospital before he himself went out and asked other people. And people also knew that Tom had a long history of involvement and commitment in the community. And so that's what gave him the authority to sit across the table from somebody and say, this is a very important thing for our community. It's important that you participate. Please join me in supporting this effort. I was just very grateful to Tom when I was working in this campaign with him, because he really helped me and really helped the hospital.
We're an independent forum. We support the Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. So we wanted to find a trustee who had a relationship with the Navy and had all the qualities of being an excellent trustee to support our mission. We're looking for somebody who understands service, a person who's got impeccable integrity, a person of high character. And the thing that influenced me the most to ask him to come on and serve on our foundation was the story about how he served in the Navy as a junior air controller on the USS Shangri-La in 1959 and 1960. He left the service, he built Tri-M, and then sold the company, but later rebought the company because he found that the ownership was not acting in a way that advantaged the employees.
He doesn't have to be the smartest guy in the room, even though he may be one of the smartest people in the room, but he strikes everybody as the wisest person in the room by his control of himself and the content of the argument. He knows how to disagree out of principle without being disagreeable. In fact, he can be a really disarming gentleman about it, and you all of a sudden realize that you've learned something new and maybe need to rethink.
Tom has meant so many things to NFIB that are important. It's not just enough to work with the governments in the states and in Washington, that so much of what impacts small business is happening in the courts. And Tom wrote a substantial check, and that allowed NFIB to start a legal foundation that we still have today. We will do probably 70 cases this year. We've had 12 to 15 cases argued at the Supreme Court, all fighting for and defending small business, and all because Tom Musser wrote a check and said, do it. Tom has been very involved in other national organizations like the Associated Builders and Contractors, and in any of those, he has great respect and gravitas because he walks the walk. He's built a business from the ground up. He's passionate about free enterprise and entrepreneurship and protecting that environment for the next generation.
Dad's always been very focused, never afraid to take risks, always be thankful but never be satisfied. And he's always sort of instilled in us, my sister and I, the strong work ethic. Something that's worth doing is always worth doing right.
You know, you hear about the American dream, and he's living proof of the American dream. He really is my hero. He's my dad. I love him.
To me, Tom Musser is the epitome of integrity, honesty, credibility. I think he enjoys a very good reputation in the community for not only being a successful businessman, but somebody who made the effort to improve his community. I'm just glad to have the opportunity to join with so many other people in congratulating Tom and for this very well-deserved award.
We've tried to conduct the business where we are a very respectable company and reach out as much as we can to do what we can. So to have that recognized is very meaningful to me. That Hall of Fame, as I look back on the past recipients, has some pretty prestigious names there. And do I belong next to them? I don't know. I guess time will tell. But I am very appreciative, and it's very, very, very meaningful to me.
Tom has achieved tremendous success in this company and throughout the United States with all of the things that he's done. And go over and look at his office, you see presidents' pictures hanging on the wall. And yet he doesn't perceive himself to be any better than his lowest level employee who works in his place. And that is his legacy. I mean, he is just one phenomenal human being. There are not very many of those kind of people walking around in the world.
He treats people like he likes to be treated. And our employees are the key to this company. He'll never take the credit. He'll always give it to the employees of the company. He's just one wonderful guy. He really is. I'm darn proud of him, proud to be his brother.
There's a quote, it's attributed to Winston Churchill, that you make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give.